Hello everyone, today we got to play Pioneer Rail. So this is a railroad game?
Well, it's a Western.
Yeah.
It's a Western.
It's going to be Western Wednesday.
It's definitely a Western game and you're, it's definitely a Western theme.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell because board games are amazing. And that's what we do here at Legends of
And we're
Nirvana.
awesome.
We are awesome.
We are awesome. So,
You know, at least I am.
yeah.
All right, guys. So, Rob, tell us more about
2023 release. It's rated 7.3. Overall rank is 5,629 on the Geek. Plays 1 to 180 people. I think that would be interesting to play that many people at one time. Ages 10 and up. Plays in 30 to 45 minutes. Designed by Jeffrey D. Allers and Matthew Dunstan. Art by Javier Gonzalez Cava. Published by Dranda Games. Now, I got a couple different price points. It looks like the MSRP is $25. Atomic Empire had it for $19.99 and Third Eye Comics $24.99.
Wow, comic shop?
Yeah.
So is the geek like the new hip way of saying board game geek? Is it?
That's because I'm hip, Randy.
Well, yeah, I broke mine, so there's that.
All right, guys. So let's talk about quality of components. So you have your dry erase player
these
The
are
board.
an
version you
add-on.
bought, yeah.
Yeah, these are an add-on with the Kickstarter or Game Foundry or whatever it was. But yeah, there's these dry erase boards. The standard has just 2 pads of paper in it. Well, it's actually the retail probably only have 1. The Kickstarter Game Found version, the crowdfunding one, has 2 different pads. One that's brown, one that's green.
Okay.
And they have 2 different sets of rules entirely as far as how you score them.
And then you get cards.
You get cards. There is a light linen finish on these suckers. Thickness is pretty thick.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything, almost too thick.
And they're supposed to be like poker cards, but it's only 10 through ace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to almost guaranteed to get a decent poker hand.
And then you got this. It's not a poker chip. It's a wood chip. But it's supposed to look like a poker chip.
Yeah.
And it's just your first player.
But
yeah. But it's fine.
Still not bad.
Yep.
It's fine. Overall quality components, I mean, I'm going to give it 6. There's some stuff, but it's stuff. It's a rolling right.
Yeah. I mean, the markers are a little, I think, better than you typically
I was
get.
just about to say, that one of the things I noticed is that this is definitely a better dry erase marker than what you typically get. It didn't immediately start going dry after 2 seconds of not using it. So.
That is true. That is true. For that, 6.5.
There you go. 6.5
Yeah.
for me.
See, I mean, with the dry erase boards themselves being added on, I think it's maybe a 7. I'll probably go 6.5 because they don't come standard in the game. You have to use the pads or else pay extra.
Or laminate it yourself.
Yeah. Well, why would you laminate yourself? You'd suffocate.
Good point.
Okay.
Laminate the sheets yourself.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So moving on to the actual theme. I mean, you're Western railroad building, and so you have to get connected to the gold mines so gold mines can come back to the cities. You have to hit up the forts. You have to make sure the banks are so they
supply the gold.
So the gold can get to the banks, as well as make sure you have your railroad stations and other things en route, as well as to the cities, right? So overall, I think it's a fun little Western.
Even cattle rustling.
Right. This is a fun
And if you play the other boards and you expand into the forested area and you have to watch out for bandits trying to rob your train.
Very cool.
Oh, okay. So, no, I think it's definitely a Western railroads theme. I think they did a really good job. The artwork really matches well with it. And even thematically where you're building that poker hand, it's definitely makes you feel like you're out west. And so for me, I like it. I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's cute.
I agree. 7's a good score.
Yeah, I mean, I like that for a simple game as it is, it takes a lot of the Western tropes and combines them into it. So they're not heavily in there, but they are there. And, so I'm probably going to give it a 7.5 because of that. Because typically with the Western Wednesdays, we basically are looking at how well does it capture the feeling of a Western. And I think it captures a good chunk of the Western tropes in it. So
okay. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so moving on to the rule book, Randy.
All right, well, the rule book, first of all, has a nice feel to it. It's got kind of a linen finish. It's not quite as nice as what we saw with some of the games like from Stonemaier and some of those, but it does have a pretty close feel to that. But then it goes into the components. Nice, got pictures of everything the way you'd like to see it. It also does come with an eraser too, if you know. So
yeah, I saw that in the box. Yeah,
that's kind of nice if you are using the pads
and the pencils.
Yeah, they've got rules explaining how basically your turn, which is very simple. You choose one of the cards and you choose to use the poker card, the value, and also the suit for 2 different functions. I think we've had another game that did something like that. I can't remember which one it was, where the value was one use and then the suit was another.
I mean, kind of welcome twos like that, where the number does one thing and then the card on the opposite side tells you what you can do.
But that was a Western one too.
I agree, but I'm just saying that it's kind of similar.
Yeah. So, and then the different buildings, it tells you basically on the board, it prints how many connections, which I thought was very handy. Because you really, once you know how the iconography and how the gameplay works, you really won't need to go back to the book. It's because most everything's printed on the board in an iconographic form. So you'll have to understand how that works. But once you do, it's a no-brainer. You can just
it's I would say it's a light to medium weight roll and write. It didn't take very
for a roll and write, maybe.
I mean, pick it up very, very much at all.
As a general game, it's probably a light, but
but for a roll and write, I call it a light to medium.
I mean, the rulebook does a good job explaining everything. I don't think there was any confusion at all on this. Really the only thing is just get a hang of the icons and how they work and how the scoring works for each, because each icon has a different scoring system, which I liked.
Yeah. So
the rules are pretty straightforward. I'm going to probably give these a 9. I think they did a great job of teaching the game in a shorthand. And as I mentioned, there's 2 main variants to the game, but there's also some add-ons, sub-variants, and some are, I think, Kickstarter exclusive or game, supporting exclusive. There's some jokers that do some different function, and then you've got the company owners mini expansion. I'm really looking forward to trying that one. We haven't broken that out yet.
Okay.
So. Yeah, I think all in all it's pretty. And also the blind draw. We did add that one in right away because I like that because it gives you a little more strategic.
I did like that.
Draw.
Let's move to gameplay. So we're going to start by everyone gets a card that is just for you. You get to look at it. You'll be using it the last round.
This is the variant I was mentioning. So in standard play, you wouldn't do this, but the way we preferred it this way.
All right. So
it's secret.
And then I'm going to be first player because I'm the girl. So.
Oh, you're special.
I am special.
She is special.
All right. So you have the 3 cards that I'm going to choose one of. Now I'm going to know what this card is, and this card is going to be my last play hand. So I already know what one of my cards are, so I need to base my choices maybe off of that. Now, I don't have anything that really pairs with it, so the next thing I'm going to obviously look at is also the suits. So whatever I'm going to take, so if I do end up, you know what, I am going to take the ace because aces are awesome. So
she's the only one that gets to use that one.
Yeah, that one comes with me, but everyone else at the table gets to choose one of those 2. Guess what? They're going to get kings.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take a king.
I think I'm going to take a king.
All right, so I'm going to put the ace down here on my poker hand, and then I'm going to use my spade. So I'm going to go to my spade station, and I'm going to be able to draw 3 lines towards anywhere I want to go. So I'm going to go somewhere. It seems like a good idea. We'll go here. 1, 2,
if she didn't, the game
3.
would be really boring.
All right. So the one thing to notice is that I went and got to the gold mine, and next to the gold mine it has a 1. So that means one side has to be triggered for the thing to trigger. I do have one side. Now, I did touch a cattle. However, the thing about cattles is that they have to be completely separate from all other cattles by your line or by natural barriers, which consider the stone or the water or the edge of the board. I was not able to complete that at the time, so I'm not going to be able to trigger that. But over the course of the time, I will be able to do that. Now, I can also, as I collect different gold, I can end up circling the bank. If I do that, then I'll be able to store my gold in the bank, and it multiplies the worth of the gold, depending on how many banks I have circled, right? Max of 4 gold per thing. Then I could also circle the forts. The forts require a 4 circle. Again, I can go up that track. Already talked about the cattle.
But cattle scores you up to 40 points. So
They
if you're
can
able to do it, it's a big score.
It's the hardest one to do.
For sure.
Because you have to go through and divide every cow from everything else. So basically, it's kind of like the game where you try to put your name in or your initial in the boxes as you form them and separate everything out. It's kind of like that one. Because you have to isolate all those cattle. You don't have to completely surround them, which is good, but you do have to isolate them from all the other cattle on the board. So it takes a lot of effort.
Poor cows.
Poor cows. All right, so then the other thing is the railroads. The railroads lets you connect your longest or your more intensive connection. Basically, the connection with the most cities attached to it. So each city is then multiplied by a multiplier based on how many railroad stations that you've accumulated. Now, the thing is you can actually connect different networks by connecting the different suits. You do that by connecting at a city point. You can never connect 2 lines not at cities, right? So just kind of FYI. Also, as you draw your different lines, once you hit a city, you have to stop that line and start afresh or trigger a special ability in the cities. So every time you get a city, you get to circle it, and those once you decide to use it, you get some special abilities. One thing is you can divert off a railroad that you already have. You can go through the mountains. You can build a bridge to go across the river, or you can change the suit of your card. Now, if you do anything that requires to draw a line, you get an additional line when you do that. So just kind of keep that in mind as you play the game.
You can also split right down the middle of the desert area.
Oh, yeah, straight across. I didn't do that one much. I should have. There's a couple times that could have been useful. Overall, then you keep playing. You play 4 different hands, and then...
Well, you also have 3 during game goals, and it's like a welcome to your perfect home and many others. Whoever's the first one to get them is going to get 10 bonus points, and whoever subsequently gets it will get 5. So, if you get it on the same round, you both get 10. So, these vary. There's a deck of each type, and there's 3 different types, and you put one of each out, so you're going to have a lot of variability from game to game.
Yep, absolutely. Overall, I really enjoyed this. Sarah actually got to play with us, so it's not too heavy. She's 10 now.
Yeah, she enjoyed it quite a bit.
She enjoyed it quite a bit. It was she has never played poker, but she has played Yahtzee. So as far as like the building of the hand, that kind of helped her a little bit. Yeah. So if your child is not familiar with Yahtzee or poker, you may want to do that first before you do this one.
But the most complicated hand is the straight, but it's not the most valuable. 4 of a kind is the most valuable.
Right.
But,
so a lot of kids
but yeah, I mean that's the most complicated is just a straight. So it's really it wouldn't be hard to pick.
Yeah, right. Like suits are not involved at all.
It's just the numerical value.
Yeah. So I just want to call that out though because it did take some explaining on her part, but once she was like, "Oh, Yahtzee," okay, then she got it right. Yep. So. Other than that, I actually really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a little bit on the lighter side, but let me tell you something. I think my mom's going to like it. My sister's going to like it. This is something I'll be able to take my family and really enjoy and totally be okay with.
And it's not a big box
That's
game.
easy to travel with. Yeah,
absolutely. So for me, I really enjoyed it. I'm probably going to give this an 8 for Roll and Write. I think it's spot on. It's not like super complicated like some of the ones I love, but I think it's good enough.
But it's got a little bit of meat to it.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's good. It's like I could play this a couple times. I'll be all right.
It's not like a Quicks or something super light or super Mecha Luggy Pops. That's super.
Well, given the fact that first of all, there's 2 types of boards on it, so you've got 2 front and back, and there's 2 completely different style of gameplay as far as scoring goes.
Even more variety.
I'm going to give it an 8.5 because I think there's more meat to this from a variety of ways you can play it. Not to mention the little mini expansions you can add. That I think that it's better than a lot of the other box roll and writes. It's getting close to being up there with the Roger the Ganges, Roll and Write. I don't think it's quite,
I mean, I don't think it's
Hadrian's Wall.
Or Hadrian's Wall, or Detroit City, or Motor City, or any of those.
But, yeah, I mean,
I
Motor
really,
City,
I mean,
a lot of people have issue with. But
I like Motor City, but I really like Three Sisters.
Yeah, Three Sisters, yeah.
Yeah, I like those. I don't think this is that level.
No, I gave those 9s, I believe. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think I'm a 7.5 myself. I think it's really enjoyable. It's approachable. I think it'd be easy to teach to people, especially those who aren't familiar with the Roll and Write format. This would be a good one to introduce that to them. And I enjoyed it a lot. 7.5 for me.
Yep, absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We had an absolute blast, and hopefully you'll come hang out with us again. We'll catch you guys later.
Bye.